Hey, it's Brock here from Rock Hill Farms. If you've been following along on the channel, you know that I'm in the market for a skid steer so I can increase my services offered and my capabilities over what I can do with the tractor. And you probably also know that I'm a big John Deere fan, if you see the green tractor here in the logo, but I'm not gonna buy a $50,000 to $120,000 piece of machine without looking at the options. That would be just foolish to be that kind of brand loyal. So I'm here with the Bobcats, and they're kind of the industry leader for skid steers, and maybe at the forefront of innovation and have a long history of making good machines. And so I've spent the last 2 hours with the salesman. He's taken me through everything I need to know about these, and I'm gonna do the best I can to relay that to you. I just drove this around the lot, hooked up a bucket, and did a little bit of playing around with it. And I've got a tour of all the controls and the features inside the cab, how the cameras and the settings work. But let's start by looking at the outside. So this is an M series. It's the style of skid loader they've been selling for a lot longer, and it's kind of being phased out by this R series that's an easier to service unit. So this unit right here is the M series, and the engine sets this direction. The new R series has the engine turned the other direction, and it's a lot easier to service. Also, the way the cab lifts up to get underneath to the hydraulics and the battery is more convenient. So let's jump over and look at one of those. It's a matter of, are you just focused on getting the work done and want a little bit cheaper model, or do you want all the bells and whistles? So basically, just with this configuration, it's a little bit easier to service. So this is a T76. After looking at all the options, I think what I want to go with is a T76 with tracks. I prefer the tracks over the wheels. Just my preference. I'm not going to use it on concrete a lot. Tracks sit on top of the ground, and wheels tend to dig in a little bit more. So I'm looking, and the quote I just got was for a track machine. So when I've started looking at skid steers, my first thought was, how does John Deere compare to all these other brands? What I see online and watching some videos is John Deere gives you the highest raw lift capacity for the same size machine, but they might be lacking in some other areas, one of those being visibility. This machine right here has better visibility than the Deere machines. This thing has a ton of cool features, and getting to drive it, I was really impressed with it. And I'm looking forward to seeing what other manufacturers offer those same features, and do they have anything else that maybe Bobcat doesn't. When you see a machine listed like this one is, with a 2,400 pound operating weight, that's nowhere near what it can actually lift. They look at the amount of weight it can lift before it tips over, and then tell you that the operating capacity is 50% of that. So one routine task that I need from a skid steer is to be able to lift a 3,500 pound pallet of plywood and carry it about 50 yards to my shop, and I feel comfortable that these machines could do that. That's the start, and that's your backup camera, right? And everything else.
Full screen, yeah. Before we start the machine, I'll just take you through what all it'll do in this touchscreen. So let's start at the bottom right with the settings, and let's start with security settings. Or no, we'll go to machine settings first. Okay. These are the adjustments we can make. So right now you're in drive response 2. We can take that up to 3 on each stick. So your work group is going to be your lift arms and your bucket tilt, and all it's doing is it's responding to that stick faster. It's just a quicker reaction from the stick to the cylinder. And so we can drop that down. Let's say you've got an auger on or something, you have to be very precise. You guys can drop it down to a 1. on the drive response, so they can steer in nice and smooth and get right where they're supposed to be. On guys that are moving a chat pile, they're in 3 all day, so they're in, they're out, they boom, 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 they're going as fast as they can. Slide on down to speed management. That is your creep. So let's say you're an asphalt guy and you've got a milling head, you're grinding down asphalt. You know that if you hold that stick about 50% of full speed, then that mill head works perfect. So we can set it up to where you hit that creep and it automatically goes to whatever you decided. 54% of full speed works perfect for my mill head. So you hit that, set it up to 54%, you set it up and you can go full stick. That way you're not having to go fast, slow, fast, slow. You just hold that full stick and you're only going 54%.
Handy.
Steering drift is what I was talking about earlier, where I can increase power to one drive motor or decrease to the other, so we make sure that we're going straight. Slide on down there.
Okay.
So one of those is really cool. It's auto throttle. Right now you're in where you gotta either hit the foot pedal or crank it up all the way. It's manual. Auto throttle it's gonna work like the accelerator in your truck. The more pressure you give the stick, the faster the machine goes. And so in manual, I'm jacked up all the way, throttled up all the way. I've got all my horsepower available as soon as I start taking off. Now the first very small portion of it will creep and then take off, but this is, you're not giving it all of the throttle. Now, experienced operators, they don't care for this at all, but guys that are new, they like it because they get the same response that they get off their truck.
Yep, I run the auto throttle on a tractor. I like it in that application.
Yeah. Delay time, so if you don't do anything within 5 seconds, the machine's going to throttle down. We can increase or decrease that. Scrolling down. And decel pedal, I can turn your accelerator pedal on the floor just like on a dozer, to where you're always, it's opposite. So right now we push down and we increase throttle. With decel pedal, it's like on a dozer where if you let off when it's open, it's full throttle.
Yeah, that seemed weird to me, but I was watching Wrangler Star the other day and he was saying he prefers the decel
all
pedal.
All your dozer operators, because that's how dozers are built, because they're full till all the time until they get to the end of their run, then they want to slow down and turn around and then are back up. So go back to security settings. This is where I really like this one. So let's pretend like I came to work for you and you know that I'm an idiot. So go to manage operators and add an operator. So we would have put my name in, Trent works for me now. Here's his password. And then you can set it up to where, hey, Trent doesn't know how to operate my high flow attachments. So you can lock me out of high flow. You can lock me out of Bluetooth. You can lock me out of the radio. And the coolest thing is the max forward, max reverse. So you can set it up to where when my code is entered, I can only go 30% of full speed or 10 or 90 or whatever in forward, and the same in reverse. A lot of guys that have kids that are learning to operate, they give their kid their own code, and it prevents them from having everything available, and for them to kind of get the training wheels on a $75,000 loader,
Right. Yeah, that's definitely cool.
Don't hit done, hit X. Done means that you're done adding me and we didn't do anything. So go back. Hit the back button again. So scroll on down for me. Operator stats, this is cool if you got, like, if I worked for you. So my name would be maybe where KC is. And you can see what my burn rate is on fuel. You can see how long the machine's in idle. And then if you wanted to, you want to get real picky, you can relate that to your job clock, because I set up a job clock to come dig out your, flatten out your hill. And I tell you, hey, I'm done, and it's been 10 hours, but you can log in and see I was in idle for 5 of that 10.
Yep.
Hey, Trent, get off the phone.
Yeah.
owner operators really don't ever use it because it's just them in it. But if you're hiring, if you've got an operator, you're the owner, they really like that. Kind of big brother can watch.
Right. There's a lot of other features that we went over, and I was here for about 2 hours, so I'm not going to show all of that. But I will say that you've got about every option you could want to customize the controls. There is a menu that shows you all the controls for new attachments that you configure. You can control whether the auto level on the bucket only applies to the up motion or the down motion or both. Very intuitive for how complex it is. Because even though there are a lot of buttons and controls, I was able to jump right in and operate. The more time I spent around these machines, the more I liked them and was sold on the brand. And I tell you, it goes a long way when you're the only one that I've found so far that has actual machines on the lot that you can demo. Moving off of the control screen, we went through all the controls on the left and right front columns, which gave you most of the same features you have on the touch screen. You've also got places to plug in your phone as far as charging it, a USB port, an auxiliary port, and you can connect it Bluetooth. With this being a sealed cab, it is actually convenient to listen to music or a podcast or whatever you prefer in here.
So, and this machine is an air ride seat. So right there in the middle, the machine will have to be fired up. You can pull it up and pump more air into the seat or decrease it. Your arms, there's a little J-bolt on the outside.
Okay.
You pull that, you can slide the arms forward and back. And that's what I was saying earlier. This machine was built with the idea of a guy that's going to spend 5 to 10 hours in this machine. He lives in this thing. This is where he makes his living. So we wanted to be comfortable. That's why we have, and actually it's in our older series where we came up with the cab forward design. So you're sitting almost on top of your bucket. So I can see my cutting edges on both sides and the front. Whereas I'm not having to feel as much. I can see and feel at the same time. It's because I'm almost sitting on top of the bucket. It's a complete sealed cab. So the only dirt that's coming in is whatever you brought with you. Or if you've left the windows open, took the door off. If you want to clean out the cab, there's a plug right there at the bottom. You pop that guy. You can put some water in it, but please don't power wash it. This is a computer now. It's not like those old guys that were chains and gears. That's pretty much the cab.
All right. And so the next thing is if this door your bucket gets stuck, something
stuck right here.
Your egress.
Well, let's start with my arms are stuck up here, right? I've got a hay bale arm or hay bale on, and the arms are stuck. First thing we're going to do is behind you. There's a safety feature. There's a little red box. I don't know if you can see it back there. Yeah. Okay. You'll flip that down, and then there's a hydraulic dump lever behind it. And so we're just going to dump all that hydraulic fluid out of the arms back into the case. And so the arms will just drop. And they'll drop hard, but they'll drop. But since we have a hay bale on, it's dropped, but I still can't get the door open. The machine's not working or something. I can't get the door open because this hay bale's here. We're going to hit this handle, and then the door will drop off the hinge. It's a safety feature where it pushes the door off the hinge and drops. So now I can get out. But now the hay bale's in front of us and the thing's on fire. Okay, I can't go this way, I gotta go that way. Just pull that red triangle, or orange triangle. It pulls the weather stripping out, knock the door out.
Okay, so then once you put this down, you clip this on.
Where?
Somewhere. I'll probably do it. Shut that.
Okay, so now to unlock the machine and tell it, hey, we're ready to work, you'll hit it looks like a little Bobcat, the other green button. Okay, so you're set up. I don't know if you saw it where it says H and ISO right above your throttle. On the side.
Yeah.
So you're in ISO, so that means that one stick is driving, one stick is operating your arms. we can switch it to the old case pattern where left drives left, right drives right, and then in and out with the arms. Nobody does that anymore, but we offer it.
Yeah.
So you're ready to rock? Yeah.
I'm up. Okay.
I moved your camera.
Thank you. Oh yeah, I can see that on the camera. There we go. Okay, so that is there.
Press and hold. Get into that bucket. It'll take you a couple tries. I'm not judging.
Okay. Am I tilting that down a little?
Now go Bobcat down. And one button I forgot to tell you about, but that rabbit and turtle on this stick, that's your 2-speed. So when you're driving, at some point kick it into 2-speed, you'll feel the machine slow down and then kick it to hyper gear and it'll take off.
Okay. Throttle up. All right, so even though I've been a deer guy with my tractors, and I may stay with deer for tractors, if I was ordering a machine today, I think I would get this machine right here. Now this one's actually sold. Just like everyone else, if you're getting a unit, you're gonna order it. But they do have some here that you can drive. They've got some used machines. They've got a couple new machines that are waiting for pickup, and I haven't been able to drive anywhere else I've been. So that really makes a big difference, but it's a great machine. I appreciate you taking time to watch this video. I'm gonna put links right here to a couple more of our videos, and I'll see you next time.